All right, peace and love, fam. This is Mario L. Bay. I'm giving out my disclaimer right away. All right, look, check this out. If you are incompetent, if you are a minority, if you have no judicial standi, if your status is civil litimor tus, do not enforce law. All right? Myself, anyone at rvbaypublication.com, Cujo Adwael, we've never, ever told anyone or directed anyone to enforce law if they were incompetent. We let people know that you have birthrights that can be enforced. But in order to enforce these things, you have to go through different degrees of understanding, overstanding, understanding, and experience to do so. All right? Now, since I got that out the way, it's time to rock and roll. All right? For the record, this is not a debate. All right? Because there's nothing to debate. This is facts. All right? This is an opportunity for me to teach a certain someone that's a citizen of the city of Baltimore. All right? A ward of the state. All right? Check this out. I got a questionnaire because this particular person is insinuating that Moors shouldn't enforce law, and we get Moors locked up, we get Moors killed, just a whole bunch of shenanigans, a bunch of BS. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to correct this guy. And at the same time, I'm going to teach this guy. And I know a lot of people say, well, Moors, y'all do the wordplay and all that. No, it's not going to be any wordplay because I'm coming straight word for word. I'm going to give you the page number, the book, and you go look it up for yourself. All right? Now, we all are grown adults, so should be able to do that. But actually, what I'm doing is I'm clearing up misconceptions because there's a lot of people out here that actually want to learn. And then you have a certain individual that's throwing salt. They're just throwing salt in the game, yelling, screaming, laughing, just pure insanity. All right. When men build, men sit down, they speak to one another, and they build. All right. Actually, there shouldn't be any screaming. Actually, it shouldn't be any cursing. Okay. Actually, screaming at each other or cursing each other out until someone draws the line. Okay. Normally, when it gets to that level, someone stepped across that line. All right. So when men build, they should be able to build. All right. Now, before I get into the questionnaires, all right, this is actually directly to that particular someone that's a ward of the state and that's property of the city of Baltimore. Okay, I'm going to say it like that. All right, questionnaire. Question number 1. Did Prophet Noble Drew Ali teach Moors to enforce the American Constitution? That's a simple question. All right, very simple question, so it should be a simple answer, right? Now, what we can do is we can go to the Divine Warning and we can go to Message to America and see what did he really say. Because you got Moors out here, they only speak about Noble Drew Ali when it benefits them. Now, if you're going to deal with Noble Drew Ali, you got to deal with Noble Drew Ali on all levels. Spiritually, his mission to uplift fallen humanity, finances, schools, such as RV Bay Publication, free online university, enforcement of the Constitution, and so on. All right? Again, first question. Did Prophet Noble Drew Ali teach Moors to enforce the American Constitution? Of course he did. Let's go to the literature. Divine Warning. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles that will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government and not under a granted privilege as has been the existing condition for many generations. All right, now check this out. Since you are a follower of Prophet Noble Ali, you must follow this. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, that's the city of Baltimore, because you are a ward of the state, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply, for they are glad to see me bring you out of the darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man, it is free national standards and power that makes a man and nation. The wealth of all nations, government, gold, and silver, commerce belong to the citizens alone, and without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. I'm going to stop right there. All right. Now, divine warning, I just went in and answered the question 1. Did Prophet Noble Ali teach Moors to enforce the American Constitution? The answer is yes. Just went into the divine warning. All right, check this out. We'll go into Message of America real quick. I'm going to keep everything quick and brief. All right. Message to America. In connection with the aims, objects, rules, and regulations of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I deem it proper to submit to you a brief statement of our organization, covering its inception, rise, and progress, and of the Mohammedan religion, which I hope will be satisfactory to you and be the means of causing you at all times to adhere to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice in your relations with mankind in general. I further most anxiously hope this brief statement will help you to more clearly see the duty and wisdom of all times upholding those fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization, for our prosperity, such as obedience to law. He said law. He didn't say statutes, codes, regulations, even though we respect that, but it doesn't apply to Moorish nationals, okay? Respect and loyalty to government, tolerance, and unity. We organized as the Moorish Temple of Science in the year of 1925 and were legally incorporated as a civic organization. Civic is dealing with the science of government. Okay, civic. Let me read that again. We organized as the Moorish Temple of Science in the year of 1925 and were legally incorporated as a civic organization under the laws of the state of Illinois on November 29, 1926. Okay? The name Moorish Temple of Science was changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America, May 1928, in accordance with the legal requirements of the Secretary of the State of Illinois. All right? Now, I'm going to skip down a little bit. Check this out. Since the work of the Moorish Science Temple of America was largely religious, the organization has been legally changed to a religious corporation, and an affidavit to the effect has been properly filed in the Cook County Recorder's Office, Illinois. All right, check this out. Noble Ali was a genius. All right, he did that because he knew it would come right under the First Amendment. All right, it would protect the freedom of speech, religious affirmation, and to peaceably protest. All right, all of that's coming up under the First Amendment. All right, so Noble Ali was a genius. And now this is for you, how you insinuate how we really shouldn't enforce law. So again, I went in on the American Constitution as far as how Noble Drew Ali said that we should enforce it. All right. Second question. What is a constitution? All right. Let's go to a law dictionary. Let's go to a law dictionary. Now, before I go into this law dictionary, I know what these Moors that's not on civics, I know what they say. This is what they say. Well, the white man wrote the Black's Law Dictionary and blah, 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 blah. That's what they say, right? All right, what I'll do is I'll go into a law dictionary first, and then I'll go into a regular dictionary. That way, we'll define the word constitution, all right? That way, you can't whine and cry and say that we're doing a word play, none of that, all right? Because we know who really wants to learn, all right? Definition of constitution. The organic and fundamental law of a nation, okay? The Moorish nation or state, which may be written or unwritten, establishing the character and conception of its government, laying the basic principles to which its internal life is to be conformed, organizing the government and regulating, distributing, and limiting the function of its different departments and prescribing the extent and manner of exercising of sovereign powers. Okay? Black's Law Dictionary. All right. All right, now check this out. Going to another dictionary. American College Dictionary. Wonderful etymological dictionary. All right. 1935. Constitution. The system of fundamental principles according to which a nation, state, corporation is governed. Straight to the point. Straight to the point. All right. Now, question. Just went into Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the proof in regards to him teaching us to enforce the Constitution, because you got some people insinuating that we shouldn't, okay? I've already put my disclaimer out there in regards to incompetent Moors, minorities shouldn't enforce any law, okay? Third question. Are public officials obligated to the American Constitution? Are they obligated to it? You know, because people always say, well, man, you can't beat the law and you can't do this and you can't do that. I got a question. Have you ever seen a judge? Have you ever seen a district attorney? Have you ever seen a secretary of state? Have you ever seen a sheriff? Anyone that's in that position of being a public official, have you ever seen them outside marching, Negroes' lives matters, Black lives matters? I don't think so, because they civilized. They understand law. They communicate by way of paper. Words have energy. Words create spells. All right? So they understand, overstand, understand that. You don't see judges in the street getting mad. You don't see attorneys getting mad. They do this. Push the button. It's sent. Or they do this. Take it to the post office and it's sent. Paper trail, okay? Has nothing to do with terrorism. It has nothing to do with sovereign citizenship. Cut that bullshit. All right? We're finna go to the Article 6 of the American Constitution in regards to public officials being obligated to the American Constitution, okay? See, I'm about to shut him down. I'm about to shut this dude down, man. I'm sick of him, you know what I'm saying? Sick of him. Every time you look up, smiling and thinking the game, thinking everything is a game, thinking everything is funny. All right, check this out. Article 6. Listen carefully. All debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And judges in every state shall be bound thereby anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Why do you think when they go in office they do this? I swear to defend the Constitution and blah, blah, blah. They got to take an oath to it. They got to. All right? Next page. The senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of the several state legislatures and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Again, people, that's why they do this right here and take an oath. That's binding them to that obligation to protect the people so they won't be molested on their own land. That's us, the Moors, all right? Now, fourth question. How does one unalienable right to travel correlate with the American Constitution? All right? How does one unalienable right to travel correlate with the American Constitution? What I'll do is, I'll go into case law on this one. The reason I'll go into case law, just to show and prove that we do have the rights to travel. We have the rights to travel. I'm going to go into case law. After I go into case law, I'll go into law definitions in regards to case law to show and prove why we have this right. All right? The right to travel, right to mode of conveyance, right to locomotion are all absolute rights, and the police cannot make void the exercise of rights. Now look this up. State versus Armstead. I just gave it to you. You can look that up. The use of the highway for the purpose of travel and transportation is not a mere privilege, but a common and fundamental right of which the public and natural beings cannot be rightfully deprived. Chicago Motor Coach versus Chicago. Look it up. The right to park or travel is part of the liberty of which the natural person, citizen, cannot be deprived without due process of law under the Fifth Amendment. Kent versus Duels. State police power extends only to immediate threats to public safety, health, and welfare. Michigan versus Duke, which driving and speeding are not. Okay, so we have the right to travel. Now check this out. I can hear people out there right now saying, well, that's old case law. That's old case law. Gotcha. I'm glad you said it, because I can hear you. That's old case law, right? All right, check this out. We're finna go into the Latin term stare decisis in the Black's Law Dictionary. Stare decisis. All right. And I'm finna show you exactly what stare decisis mean. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, stare decisis is a Latin term. It says to abide by or adhere to decided cases. Policy, of course, to stand by precedent and not to disturb settled point. Okay, so the case law I just read correlates with policy, of course, to stand by precedent and not to disturb settled point. Okay, so it means to abide by or adhere to decided cases. So when we present case law to these magistrates, they have to dismiss it. If not, that's when we really go in on the magistrate. All right. Next definition, res judicata. Now I'm teaching you something now. Get off the ego. Get off the ego. I'm teaching you something. Res judicata. It's funny how these guys, man, that's not qualified to speak on topics such as law, you know, they speak on it. That's weird to me. Okay, res judicata. A matter adjudged, a thing judicially acted upon or decided, a thing or matter settled by judgment. So these cases have already been settled. It's already been judicially decided. it is what it is. It doesn't change. Okay? It doesn't change. All right, now, what we're going to next is fifth question. What are the differences between codes, statutes, policies, regulations, acts, and law? All right. Now, all of those I just named is actually private legislation. Okay. Acts, codes, rules, regulations, the whole nine. It's private legislation. Okay. It's private corporate policies. It's not law. Okay. I just read out of Article 6 of the American Constitution that it's the supreme law. For example, if you were to come to my home and the rule to my home is no hats allowed, okay, that's my personal rule to my home. That doesn't mean that it applies to every home on my block, okay? So that's a personal rule. That's a personal legislation that goes for my home and my home only. The next home, they may say, hey, you can wear a donut on your head. Who gives a damn? All right. So remember, it's all about jurisdiction. It's all about personam jurisdiction, understanding who falls in what jurisdiction. All right. Now, number 6. Should incompetent Moors enforce law? This goes back to what I said in the beginning. Incompetent Moors should never enforce law. I've never told anyone to enforce law, especially if I knew they were incompetent. I always tell people that you have these rights, but you got to remember, we are under occupation. So this is a war. So to try to slander RV Bay Publications in regards to certain people being in prison, at the end of the day, most of them are either incompetent, okay, enforcing things for all the wrong reasons, greed, or, again, we at war. We at war, all right? I mean, hell, that's just how it goes. This is war. So at the end of the day, I think it's more of a jealousy thing that's coming from these Moors that say, well, you don't do this and they do that, they rebel Moors and all this bull. It's a jealousy thing because we have more courage to fight the oppressor. You understand? We have the courage to do that. Y'all don't. Let's just be real about it. Y'all don't have the courage. All right. I went to New York. I'm about to really get into something now because, you know, this guy is really very arrogant with his ignorance. Very, very arrogant with his ignorance. All right, I went to New York territory in September. All right. And before I actually landed in that territory, I asked the ancestors for guidance, protection, safety, everything that's going to align with the 5 principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, okay? When I got to the Harlem territory, everything was cool, you know. I wanted to meet, you know, Brother Red Pill for sure, because I know Brother Red Pill is coming with that thunder in regards to the Moorish information. Don't get it twisted. All right, I met this brother, you know, first time, felt nothing but love. It was cool. It was the real deal, you know. And you know, he told me a few things that's going on, you know, and I told him a few things. And the main thing I told him is what I just told y'all, is in regards to you know, the protection. I didn't want any negative vibrations. Now, I was there for a week. I was on foot, walking around Harlem, you know, most of the time solo, you know, the whole entire time solo, you know, several square miles on foot. I didn't see any of those clowns that defame Moors, the loud talkers. I didn't see anyone. The only person that I saw that associate himself with those clowns time to time is Brother Red Pill. And I told him, I said, look, I'm glad that I didn't see any of these brothers, you know, because I didn't want that negative information coming into my circumference. And he told me, he was like, yeah, that was the ancestors, you know. And I was like, yeah, and I'm glad. Even at the National Black Theater, none of them, none of them, none of them. And I walked that entire territory within about 6 to 8 miles, like block after block, everywhere. I was everywhere. You know, I was everywhere. Long story short, while I was at the classes, I met a brother there, and he just offered to give me some information on rights to travel. And I was like, what's this? And he was like, well, it's something from the governor of New York that's enforcing our rights to travel. So let me show y'all something. I'm about to read it, okay? I'm about to read it. Now, this is for the guy that continuously say that RB Bay publication is pushing false hope and dreams and, you know, all of this BS, you know. So this is actually coming from the governor. I'm pretty sure you would respect the governor of New York, wouldn't you? You know, check this out. It's coming from the Department of Travel. Governor Andrew Cuomo is dated November 23rd, 2015. Coming from the state capital, Albany, New York. And there's the phone number. I'll give you the phone number. 518 area code 474-7516. It's in regards to violation of U.S. Supreme Court rulings regarding the right to travel. And I just read this. Subject, education of law enforcement and New York judiciary. Dear Governor Cuomo, we are sending this correspondence to make you aware of the unconstitutional acts committed by your law enforcement agencies and state courts against the people of New York. These acts may or may not have been committed knowingly or intentionally, but nevertheless, we are writing to your office to ensure that these violations are brought to your attention so they can be addressed and corrected. As you may or may not know, there are people in your state. Remember, state is not dealing with land. State is dealing with mind. As you may or may not know, there are people in your state whose status is ostensibly different than the average U.S. citizen and are considered foreign nationals or American nationals with certain safeguards and protection under the law. Our primary concern is that their rights to travel in your state are not infringed. Now again, state does not mean land, okay? That's another Jew. Doesn't mean land. State of mind. Our primary concern is that their travel rights in your state are not infringed. Again, they talking bad about this rights to travel thing, but hey, this is coming from a municipal government. In order to educate your law enforcement regarding foreign nationals or American nationals in your state, you can call the Department of State here in Washington, D.C. to get clarity, or you can go to the Department of State's website, travel.state.gov, content, travel CNA training resources, CNA manual, February 2014 PDF, or our website, usa.government, blah, 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 and download the manual. The Department of the State also offers training for your law enforcement officers free of charge to raise awareness and compliance. We have enclosed one of our affidavit forms for the exemption of registration and licensing for foreign nationals that foreign nationals have to file in your state to lawfully claim the exemption. This affidavit also can be used by U.S. citizens who are not driving or operating a motor vehicle for profit or hire. So there's a difference between driving and traveling. They just said it right here. This is coming from a municipal government. They just said it. This affidavit also can be used by U.S. citizens who are not driving or operating a motor vehicle for profit or for hire. Please forward this information to all of your law enforcement agencies in your state to prevent any unnecessary lawsuits from being filed against these agencies for not following the law and violating the rights of the people to freely travel without interference unless they are a threat to the public safety. That goes back to the Supreme Court law, what I just read about police. It says state police power extends only to immediate threats to public safety, health, and welfare. All right. See, I'm proving this. I'm proving this. If you have any questions regarding this matter, please feel free to respond in writing by mail or fax any questions or concerns you may have, and we will be happy to answer and address them. Thank you in advance for your cooperation and consideration in this matter. It was CC'd to the Department of State, John Kerry, and Loretta Lynch, which is the Federal Attorney General. It was signed by Norv Eisenberg, Foreign National Division. All right. Now, how much more I got to prove? How much more I got to prove? All right. Now, I'm about to define some words because, you know, some people feel like they can assume and know things. In law, you have to be very, very, very specific as to what's being said and things that are done in the law arena. It's got to be very specific, people. All right. I'm going to look into the first, I stated legislation earlier. So what I'll do is I'll go into, I got quite a few. So what I'll do is I'll go into legislation first. Matter of fact, let me go into, okay, yeah, I'll go into legislation. All right, legislation. The act of giving or enacting laws, the power to make laws, the act of legislating, preparation and enactment of laws, the making of laws by express decree. Municipal ordinance are legislation. Municipal ordinance are legislation. Okay, so a lot of these brothers that's in certain temples that don't deal with civics, they say that they follow the city laws, the state laws. I'm not arguing that. That's very respectful. You can be respectful in that manner and follow that. But what we are saying is that it doesn't apply to Moorish nationals, okay? Because they're subjugated to the supreme law of the land, which I already read in Article 6. All right. Now we're about to look up the word municipal. All right. For these dudes that call themselves Moors and they from Morocco, but then they under some type of foreign occupation and going by foreign European corporations' rules. All right, check this out. Municipal. In a narrower sense, it means pertaining to a local government unit, commonly a city or town or other governmental unit. In its broader sense, it means pertaining to the public or governmental affairs of a state or nation or a people. Okay, now, but check this out. As you scroll down, this is the real deal. Among the Romans, cities were called municipia, which is the etymological term municipia. These cities voluntarily joined the Roman Republic in relation to their sovereignty, only retaining their laws, their liberties, and their magistrates, who were thence called municipal magistrates. So when you're dealing with the municipal corporations, such as the city of Baltimore, okay, that's a Roman venue, okay? But you said you was Moorish, okay? So you can't straddle the fence. Either you're going to deal with the supreme law of the land or the constitution within the temple, or you're going to deal with the Roman venue municipia. Got to make a choice. You got to make a choice, baby. You got to make a choice, all right? Now look at this. We're about to go into the term minority, because this guy that claims the city of Baltimore, he's most definitely a minority. So I'm about to look this word up. No wordplay, straight out of the Black's Law Dictionary. Straight out of the Black's Law Dictionary. Minority, the state or condition of a minor, infancy. So what that says to me is a baby. This guy whines, yells, until he gets his way. That's what babies do. So I just defined the status of this guy. This guy is a minority. The state or condition of a minor. Infancy. Moving on. All right. We're about to go into, let's go into jurisdiction. And I'm going to hang this up. Well, let's go into jurisprudence. I'm sorry, jurisprudence. Jurisprudence, the philosophy of law or the science which treats of the principles of positive law and legal relations. All right. The treaty, the American Constitution, it all deals with positive law. And then you have what they call color of law, which is a semblance of which is real. It is not real. So the codes, the rules, the regulations, the acts, the policies is color of law. It's de facto. Again, the rules, the acts, the colorable municipal governments, color of law. It's a semblance of which is real. It's imitating, it's mimicking the supreme law, but it's actually the opposite. Okay? Now, this video is dedicated to a special someone that continues and defame R.V. Bay publication. So I went into Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whether or not he wanted us to enforce the Constitution. That was proven. I went into the definition of a constitution for those that don't know what a constitution is. Okay. I went into public officials. Are they obligated? Mayors, district attorneys, prosecutors, magistrates, governors, sheriffs, any of these people, are they obligated? Yes, they are. I went into Article 6 of the American Constitution, and we proved that. All right. I went into the rights to travel and how it correlates with our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Okay? We have that right. That's a birthright to do so. That's without a doubt. Should incompetent people enforce it? No. Again, should incompetent people enforce it? No. Now, also, I went into the differences between color of law, statutes, codes, rules, regulations, policies, and so on versus law, the organic, real deal, body form of what nations are built under. Okay? Distinguish that. Okay? I went into should incompetent Moors enforce law for like the 100th time? No. Okay? I went into the rights to travel from the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo. Proof again. I went into definitions, legislation, municipal, res judicata, stare decisis. I went into these definitions. Okay? Actually, I can go into a lot more, but I wanted to sum it all up just to prove and just to show to the people, really, that you have a lot of agent provocateurs out here that's trying to misroute you from the true deal of what it is, okay? And that's real talk. But like I say, at the end of the day, those guys, they're just jealous-hearted. That's it. They're just jealous-hearted. Because we got the courage. We got the courage and the nerve of this dude to say that R.V. Bay Publications is selling dreams and hope. Nah. I've been studying R.V. Bay Publications for several years now. Okay? Several years. And anybody that know me, 9 charges dismissed without an attorney. You understand? 9 charges dismissed without an attorney, man. You know what I'm saying? How many folks doing that? How many folks doing that? How many folks doing that? That's me. That's me on that. While you running your cock eater, that's me. I got courage. I got heart. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. And not only that, I got plenty of information that can be cross-examined by the public. I've written books. I've written books and I publish books. I publish books. Public official bonds. I know how to go out there financially. Again, should incompetent people enforce this? No. It took a long time for me to climb up in the degrees to get and understand this information. I got plenty of information that can be cross-examined. So before you run in your mouth, you need to really think about what you're talking about. Mario L. Bay, peace and love, fam. I'm out.